Yeah, I would say I like the analogy, the metaphor of the Gordian knot. The Gordian knot of who you are, like it's in some sense inaccessible in a conundrum, right? And it can feel, it feels like for me the most of my life the struggle actually makes the knot worse, right? And there's something about the attention, the exquisite attention encircling that actually releases that, right? The freedom and the invitation to just be who I am without all of the posing and without all of the striving, just who is that actually softens that. Now this is the powerful part of the developmental piece, I think, is it not only softens it, there's an exquisite beauty to that experience. And there's also a challenge to that because I didn't realize, and I think this is true for a lot of people, how much I relied on the contours and geometry of that knot of who I am as a kind of a foundation, a basis. That has been my compass. And in this exquisite attention, as that dissolves and softens and opens up, I am a different person than I thought I was, which is, like I said, profoundly relieving and very disorienting. It can be exquisitely disorienting as well. And learning to actually embody my full self is, it really is an art form, right? It's more than just an experience. It really is an art form.
Yeah, and I moved to hear you speak, David, because it occurs to me that this takes a lot of courage. But the interesting thing is it's not kind of this like white knuckle. I'm going to get this done no matter what, and I'm going to stand in the face of the hail of bullets, and I'm going to survive through this experience. It's actually like super fun.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And I think really that's what I'm so excited about. I mean, this process is actually fun. I mean, you're getting deep transformation. It's not costing you a fortune, and you're having fun. So right? What's enough?
Right.
I mean, it can be painful, right? As well. Sometimes. And like just in the group yesterday, just to go back to that, I was like, it's hard for me to hear the negative impact of how I'm showing up. In this case, was a negative impact of my alcoholism and my repeated failures to fulfill my promises in that context to the group, right? But ultimately, it's good for me, right?
Mm.
So
there was I was talking to Antanas as well, one of the other members of the men's group, talking to him as well yesterday about there's an aspect of who we want to be, like facing that it's amazing. So what I noticed is the ways in which I try to finagle the situation. This is where the bullshitting comes in, right? The desire to bullshit is like to pretend that I am somewhere, but the real deep desire underneath all of that isn't the success, right? It's not some result or some golden ticket. That's not the actual desire. The deeper desire, when I really feel into it, is to actually be myself, right? So it's a fundamental, it's like that means that any interaction includes the vulnerable possibility of including the possibility of failure or rejection.
Right.
And if I try to eliminate that part, I'm actually moving away from where I want to be.
Right.
And that's from one perspective. It's such a subtle thing. I see myself doing that over and over again in ways in which, it's 4 years of practice, and it's only really in the last year or so that I can more reliably show up in a circle in a way that can be with the ways that I want to hide, as well as the ways in which I'm showing up like authentically. This is different for each person, I'm sure, but for me, it really is like a powerful sense of how do I actually just show up fully right here.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're learning to have much more self-awareness and more discernment of whether you're showing up as a story or as a concept or as a how do I call it, like a statue, or right, monolithic type of presence, and you're just getting a lot of discernment of that who you think you are is actually not at all what you are, or only a very, very, very tiny piece, right? And I think that's very beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And that, and that's the gift of relatedness, and that's the gift of circling when we do it well as well. And it sounds like you're doing it. It sounds like you're doing a lot of good circling, and I'm really quite inspired by the stories I hear about the Austin Circling Studio. And by the way, if you're in Austin, you really ought to check this out. It's a pretty amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Pretty amazing operation. I mean, essentially, you're repeating what they were doing at Boulder Integral before it folded. So I'm actually very, very happy that this experiment is continuing in a different form.